Happy Tuesday, y'all. Josh is not here. Oh, he would have loved that opening. He's not here to make fun of me. So there's no video in this recording because Josh knows anytime that I record a podcast, there's not going to be a video. So it's going to be Zoom audio only. This is Connect to a Podcast, and I have 3 guests today. So there's 4 of us today. So we'll try to make sure that we talk one at a time, but I can't guarantee that. That might be impossible so that you guys can hear each and every one of us. But since you guys can't see who we are, I would like to introduce everyone. I have Nicole.
Returning champion.
Gosh. Our returning co-host / guest. We have Emma, who's back. Emma was on a few episodes, a few back. Wow. Sorry. I think I have a slight concussion, and I'll tell that story in a second. So excuse me with my words. Emma's here. Hi, Emma.
Emma's here. Hello.
And then we have a new guest, Jenny.
This is the first podcast ever. She is a virgin in the podcast world. We are popping her cherry tonight.
Oh my God.
So exciting.
I'm so nervous.
With the girls. No, you're going to be fine.
Hello, Jenny.
Hello.
Thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
All right, so we're definitely going to try to speak up because my audio is not as good as Josh's. Josh has like the headset. He's got I have my MacBook open, so we'll try to make sure we speak clearly so everyone can hear us, but it's not going to be a problem because we're all very loud. So
Yes.
It's all good. So we're here to talk about dating and relationships.
Yes.
Fun. But first things first, so we are all also log off employees. Our log off what? Helpers.
Yes.
Employees / helpers. Our log off boss is here, Nicole. So as tradition, we are going to start off with a log off. We call it a doodle. It's basically like a shot of different things mixed together. So
That's correct.
right? Doesn't that feel good? So we're gonna got some doodles. We're gonna cheers. Cheers. So everyone shoots their doodle and I sip it, basically. So yep, they're done. They just took a shot. I always say that I don't take shots. Here's my excuse. It's probably not this. I think I'm just making excuses. My excuse is that I was married in my 20s and I missed all of like the college partying days and I didn't take shots.
Okay.
In my 20s.
I know. I just can't do it. I am a one. Okay. Okay. So we have our doodles. We're going to be pouring our doodles throughout this episode probably. But yeah, here we are. We're so sad Josh isn't here. But like I said, at your own risk, Josh, to leave these podcasts up to me. So here we are.
Yes. And you knew I was coming on here. So yeah, you've been forewarned of the disclosure at the beginning with language and content, so it's fine.
Oh yeah, no filter here. Sorry.
No. And it's so funny because all of our guests that we have on, not all of them, but some of them, they'll ask like, can I cuss? Like before we record. And Josh is always like, yes, it's totally fine. You could totally cuss. But people always ask. So fuck yeah, we're gonna cut. Okay.
Exactly.
So there you go.
And
Okay.
Josh knows my
He knows.
so we're fine.
He knows. Okay, we'll try to, well, we have a lot to talk about. Jenny was asking how long are we doing this? And we usually go, Josh and I try to keep it to an hour. We might go an hour and a half. We're gonna try to keep it to an hour. So we'll try to like quick go over some things. This is an interesting topic to all of us, I think. We've all experienced different types of like just relationships. We've all gone through so much shit, all 4 of us. Emma and I were talking and we would we were like, let's do dating and relationships. And you've been talking to Emma and Jenny got dragged over here. Sorry, Jenny.
Jenny was technically at log off, not logged off because she was working and I told her what I was doing and I was like, you want to go? And she's like, no. And then a couple minutes later, I'm like, okay, I'm heading out. Do you want to go? And she goes, yeah. I want to go.
Hell yeah.
Good.
Hell yeah.
That's fine.
And then you told me what you were talking about, and then I
regretted all of her traditions.
So yeah, it's fine. She gets to it's fun.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's just a conversation.
It's just
we talk all the time. Like I pull her in the office and bug her about stuff all the time. So this isn't anything that's not normal for
Yeah.
All of us just to shit.
Wow.
Just to sit and talk
Just
about
to sit and talk. Well, and I feel like anything we're gonna say that people have either been through it or they're like, oh, I'm glad I'm not the only one, or oh shit, okay, that's something kind of like I experienced. So I feel like we all
Or
can
something
share
to look
something.
out for.
Something
Yeah.
to look out for.
Yes.
Yes.
Red flags,
Yeah.
huge.
Red flags. We've
Yeah.
got a laundry list of those to
Yes.
go over.
Okay, so the first thing I want to just kind of like open up with is, are we currently dating someone? Like, what if you guys wouldn't mind sharing whatever you want to share, what is your relationship status like right now currently? I'll go first if you want. I am single as Pringle. I'm dating absolutely no one. I'm on dating apps. I'm just kind of throwing feelers out there. Yeah, I'm currently not seeing anybody.
Emma Jean.
I am seeing someone, kind of, and I'm sure we'll touch more on that.
Okay.
Janae?
Janae?
I'm single and I'm not trying to date right now. No
Okay.
apps. I'm sick of the apps. I'm sick of all that. So
We'll talk about that
yeah,
too.
yeah,
The app.
Yeah.
yes.
Talk about him. Nicole.
I am in a 2.5-year relationship after being single for damn near 10 years. So yeah, still Zach, still same guy that I've talked about before. He's still putting up with me. So yeah, it's good.
And I've known Nicole for a very long time. And I think I said it on one of the episodes, like I've never seen her with somebody. So this is amazing. We love Zach. This is great. So I think all four of us are definitely in different places. Like
Mhm.
Nicole, you're in a committed 2-year. Jenny, you're single but not wanting to date. Emma, you're in what you're in.
It's a great way to put it.
I'm single, but I want to date. Like I'm actively trying to find
something
somebody.
that I was talking to Emma about last night, because we had a very, very, very long conversation over the phone last night. I am about to be 50. How old are you?
I'm 36.
Oh, I'm 26.
And then I'm 37. So Jenny and I we're the
So
same
we
age.
were talking like when it was just going to be the three of us. I was like, and we're all in different like decades of life. Like
Mhm.
I'm old and what I've been through, and then you're kind of middle, and then we've got the young buck here.
Which also affects how we view dating and our different takes on certain things when it comes to dating. So that'll be fun to talk about also.
Yeah, because that was the main thing when Emma was telling me about the situation she's going through, and it was mind blowing to me, and I kept going, wait, I don't understand. Like, what were you saying? The words that you were saying?
Rushing into it.
Yeah, and
Because
Like,
I didn't
what
want to
is-
rush into it.
yeah, what does that mean? Like, if you're seeing somebody, like with me, in my Gen X life, it was like you start dating somebody and you can be physical, but the majority of it was like you found someone and you dated that person and you created something and you saw where it went. If it didn't go, then you split it. But now with your age group, y'all want instant gratification and everything is right now, and it's very
Emma has a rebuttal to that.
I don't know. See, okay, what Nicole and I were talking about last night was she didn't understand rushing into it because we had already slept together. She says, what's rushing into it if you're already there? And I was like, rushing into it for me isn't necessarily the sex, it's the commitment part. And that is where like rushing into the commitment to just like the two of us is where things get
Do you mean
complicated.
like, so for you, do you mean like rushing into it, like meaning you guys are both your boyfriend, girlfriend, like right away?
Yeah, and
Like that
that is what I want to avoid is to becoming boyfriend and
Like,
girlfriend
who was-
too soon.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Versus like sex, like that's never really been like the issue for me.
Okay. Yeah, no, we all have, I think it is interesting that not only are we different people, like we think differently and we view relationships differently, but we are of different generations, of
Mhm.
decades, I guess. I shouldn't say generations. You're not that old, Nicole. You're of different generations.
50.
That's crazy.
Shit.
True.
Right? I can't believe it.
So we have the wisdom in here. Nicole.
If that's what we're calling it.
No, it's just me going, wait, because it was just, poor Emma, I'm like, okay, explain it again in dummy terms. Like, I'm so confused. What do you mean rushing into it? Because I feel that once you commit to being with somebody physically, and I don't know if I ever have like dated somebody and had to have that, well, are you sleeping with anybody else? Because I guess maybe in my generation, we just assume that when you date, you figure it out. If it doesn't work, of course, you break up and go your separate ways, but it's not I'm not worried about having a conversation of commitment, I guess. I guess it's just in my it's just assumed that is the goal, to create something and build and see where it goes.
I have a question. Was it ever like an issue back, when you were dating, like when you were younger or whatever? It wasn't an issue of, oh, you and I are seeing each other, so we don't need to have are we seeing anyone else talk? Because now with dating apps these days, there is the chance of like, of course, you got like 10 other people in your DMs, or you're going on a different date the next day or something.
And like
If
the
that makes
talking
sense.
phase is very much like an added thing now, whereas I feel like that wasn't such a prevalent thing.
We didn't even.
That wasn't a thing at all.
It wasn't until I had kids.
Yeah.
Kids are like, we're
Like I
talking,
feel like
Mom,
that's
what are you
a
talking about? I don't understand.
I feel like that's a new age
So that for us, I
added
guess
portion
my
of the
generation,
thing.
that was dating.
Yeah.
So our definition of dating was you're talking, like you getting to know each other. We just would meet and I really like you and I want to see you again and let's go on a couple dates and see how it goes. And I mean, again, the whole sex, physical, all that stuff, whatever, but it was like the emotional part of you two trying to get to know each other. That was our word of dating. And now you guys have like layers of stuff that it doesn't. And then for you to have the conversation, and this is why I told Emma it would be so cool to have a boy in here to get their perspective of what on a guy's side what does it all mean on your side? Like what, because we get all, of course, we're women, we're 10,000, our brains are going 10,000 miles a minute. And we're always thinking of stuff. But what do guys actually think of when you're talking? Is that them talking to 10,000? Which then we overthink everything and we're assuming, oh, they're dating everybody or they don't like me, or when you get in your head.
Yeah.
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 I told Josh I need his brother Jordan on so we could talk about dating, because Jordan had that episode where he's like, I got dumped. And so I immediately DM'd him. I was like, I need details. What happened? Tell me everything, and so of course I'm not going to say details here, but I told him, I said, I need you on. We need to talk about, I need your perspective then. And I need
oh, that would have been funny. I haven't met him yet. He's one of my biggest fans of my Taco Bell story.
He loves the Taco Bell. We'll get to the Taco Bell story later. So Jenny, what are your thoughts on rushing into things?
What's interesting is I kind of align more with Nicole's perspective on dating, which I feel like is not typical for like people our age, our generation. But I'm very much a person who I want to talk to one person, and I want to kind of know that they're doing the same thing. And for me, rushing into things is being physically intimate with someone. Like I'm okay with making an emotional connection first and then allowing that to happen. But I have to have like a good connection with someone before I'm willing to like be vulnerable with them and like let them in that way. So I'm kind of like I'm leaning towards the 50-year-old.
Well, and I don't know. I don't know if, I mean, maybe it's just me, but for me, like physical has never been a totally vulnerable thing.
Yeah.
Like for me, vulnerable is totally like more of the emotional aspect of it. Like physical, and a point that I brought up to Nicole last night when we were talking was there have been times where I have tried to like build that emotional connection before getting physical, and then we get physical and either I'm like, no, or like they stop talking to me.
Yeah.
And like that, and that's where like the disappointment comes in. Whereas like there have also been times where I get physical first and then I am able to build that connection without like it becoming like a weird devaluing thing.
Mhm. Well, and I will say I feel like my approach to it and wanting to like build an emotional connection feels like most people don't have patience for that nowadays. Like they want what Emma is saying, like physical first, whatever, right? They don't want to like spend weeks potentially getting to know you to then like
Right.
get to that point and be like, yeah, I'm good, never mind.
That's that instant gratification.
Or I feel like with the physical, like that can be just from like for guys, it seems like that's if you treat it like an award, a reward, then once they get the reward, then why continue to put forth that effort? Versus if you just rip that band-aid off and then they still are coming around, then that's how you know it's more like they do actually like me. Instead of seeing that as an award, then all right, on to the next.
I feel like we all have such different experiences too
Mhm.
in that aspect. I've had, I mean, you guys, I tell you guys almost everything about about my dating,
Lots and lots.
my dating life. I feel like I've experienced both where I feel like it's 50-50 with guys I've experienced where a guy would be like, no, like like what Emma said, like I want the physical now to see if we connect, without saying those actual words to me.
Yeah, they'll never say
right?
that. Yeah.
But I can tell that that's what they're, wanting to see if we connect. And I definitely agree that there has to be that chemistry, that physical connection, but the emotional has to be there too. And I've dated guys who are like, they would draw the boundary line and be like, we are not doing anything physical for a little bit.
Mhm.
Like I would I want the guy to lead me. So I kind of, every guy that I've like dated or like have, talked to or whatever, I kind of let them lead within my own comfort zone, of course. Like I'm not going to do anything I don't want to do, but it's interesting that I've had some guys who are like, basically I would have to say, no, we're going to wait a little bit. And some guys would tell me, nope, we're going to wait a little bit. So it's interesting. I mean, of course, obviously none of them have worked out because I'm single. So I'm kind of siding. I side towards both. I side towards Emma because because kind of like what she said, what's the point? It's either going to work or it's not. But then I'm also like, but if you have the emotional connection first, then it's almost like it's, I don't know, going to be a little more worth it when the physical connection is there. But I've also had experience where it was the emotional connection and then the physical connection wasn't there. And that's what broke the relationship type thing. So I think it's just preference. Obviously, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer.
Yeah. And, like I definitely see both sides. Just, for me personally, I'm more of a physical girl myself.
And I feel like important context to add is that I'm a lesbian. We didn't say that.
Oh yeah, we didn't say Jen.
Context for you.
The token gay in the conversation right now.
We need Jenny's lesbian perspective for sure. So
But that changes things, right? Because now I'm talking about other women so the concept of building that emotional connection, it's a smaller like barrier to hurdle over. I think I'm stereotyping, but than it would be than I imagine with men.
Not stereotyping. You're speaking on your own experience.
Batshit crazy too, so it doesn't matter.
You know what I mean? Like,
but all the emotions are there,
So you can't, there are a lot of women who prioritize emotional connection, but it just feels like it's fewer and far between than.
Really?
Yeah. Now, like as time is, today, 2025, like I think. As a percentage, it's easier to get that what I'm looking for with women than it would be with men, I'm assuming. But it is still like that's part of the reason I'm like done with the dating apps because it's like there's a lot of people who just want the physical connection.
Okay. So it is just the physical thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and that's one thing I wanted to bring up at some point in this conversation too is the freaking dating apps.
And I want you to talk about them. Lesbian dating apps. I love talking to Jenny when she tells me about them. They're great.
Yeah.
Like dating. I'm sorry, we're prepping the next round of doodles. I put some.
I get to drink
Who wants? No, you don't have to put the hazy in. I put
Okay.
hazy in mine. Anyone else want hazy in theirs?
No, we don't like
Well, like, yeah. Well, so the dating apps versus meeting people out in the wild.
Mhm.
Like without the dating app. So, because I have my opinion and my stories, but I want to know what you guys think and what your experiences have been because it's such like a torn topic.
When
For
I
sure.
started dating apps, this is how old I am.
Mhm.
Mine was
E-Harmony?
FarmersOnly.com.
Shut up. eHarmony and MySpace.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
What?
MySpace.
Dating on MySpace?
Yes, that's how you connected with. That's when it first started.
Okay, I can't lie. I did meet someone on MySpace when I was like 19. Okay.
Mm.
I'm old. Yeah, that's a. I will give you guys that dating story. That one's visual though. I can't do it on here. Oh my God, who taught you how to pour beer?
You.
We're struggling with the
So yeah, I met someone on eHarmony was you had to answer thousands of questions. And I did it. I sat and I answered all of them correctly. Now, mind you, I've owned a cleaning business now for 25 years. I am very kind of sort of OCD. I am very meticulous. I am very goal oriented. I'm extremely, I work my ass off for no reason. Just, I know. Zach, yes, I know you're gonna listen to this. And yes, I know I work too much, but it's just, that's just who I am. Well, when you put everything in that stupid app, it matches you with somebody just like you.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
date yourself. I went on, okay, so we met at the restaurant. I know you guys know all my dumb stuff. Back in the day, whatever. We ended up back at us, nothing happened. We went back to his house. His entire house, the whole house was white. It was so ridiculously
killer.
clean. Yes. It was so like this, it was too much. I was like, I can't date myself.
Yeah, it's definitely giving
It's-
serial killer.
Yeah.
Serial killer.
Sterile.
Oh my God. Yeah. Sterile. Everything was so clean. I mean, I pride myself on being someone, my house, I have 2 dogs. So that's my,
But for you to think it was too clean.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Oh my gosh.
so much. So yeah, it was, no. So yeah, eHarmony, bad idea, meeting
Right.
your exact freaking,
We're pausing.
Match.
We're pausing to
Doodle.
chug these doodles really quick. Of course, I don't drink mine all the way, but they do. But
I
yeah,
don't have a crazy dating story, but I have a crazy story of someone I
Okay.
dated.
okay.
we're
well,
definitely going to get
We'll
to the
get to
crazy
that,
dating
yeah.
stories. Yeah,
For sure.
we're going to share our crazy dating stories soon too, and all of our listeners.
Okay, so
at the end
wait,
as well.
let's
Yeah,
ask. So
yeah,
why
yeah.
eHarmony is stupid? Go ahead, tell us. Come on, Jenny. Just give us a little bit.
I feel like
Just do it.
just a lot of my experience on the apps has been, I'm gonna say 80% of the people that reached out to me were like couples looking for a third. Which, and I just finished saying that like I'm not interested. I want the emotional connection, and I'm not gonna emotionally connect with both of you.
No.
Wait, were they men and women?
That's what I was going to ask.
Both.
Oh, women.
It would depend on the app because there's some apps that are geared towards just lesbians. But yeah, both. Which
That sucks for you. When
Yeah,
you're like,
man.
I'm going to be monogamous. God dang. Like,
yeah, and a lot of people like.
Oh.
I mean, it's kind of like a thing that people are like, especially like straight couple.
See, and
They're
again,
like, oh, I want the lesbian in here. Like the dude wants to see that and whatever.
but my
It's like,
thing
I'm
is,
not-
okay, in the relationship realm of the bubble that we're talking about, that's just physical. Like,
yeah,
why are there not people that want to actually commit and start and try to build something with just a person? Why is everything so sexualized?
well, I think on the apps, just like Jenny said, I feel like there are so many people on the apps, whatever app it may be, it's scaring away the people that want an
Mhm.
emotional connect and like
Yeah.
a real connection.
Well,
I
yeah.
talk to so many people and they're like, oh, I can't do the dating apps. And even when I match with guys where I look at their profiles, they are so cynical and so discouraged on the apps. Like their prompt will be, change my mind about, and they'll be like this dating app.
Yeah.
Like they're
I've seen that a
so
lot.
discouraged.
Mhm.
And so to me, I'm like, are they giving up or are they really, but like I don't, so I usually swipe no on them because I'm like, I need someone with a positive attitude, but I don't blame them for having a negative attitude. I feel like the apps are scaring away people,
Yeah.
like good people who
Yeah.
want an actual relationship.
I will say with my experience on dating apps, that's something that I notice, and I literally on Hinge you're able to like change the settings of people you want to see like pop up, and like you're able to put like religious setting. Is this is this like a deal breaker? Like if they're this or that, or what they want in the relationship status. Is this a deal breaker for this and that? I literally changed all of my settings to like Christian, monogamous, all of this because like those, then I felt like it was not just about sex. Like if it was like for like religious purposes, I don't know. But like that's, and even still it was like I would match my biggest experience on apps, which is why I'm like I've given up on them, is there's been so many times where like I'll match with a bunch of dudes, really only start good connection with like a couple of them here and there, and we'll talk for like a week long, then we'll get to like planning on meeting up and then ghost.
And
Like
that's the problem with the dating apps. This was something that somebody I was friends with years and years ago. And him and I were sitting and talking because he was on the dating apps. I was trying to figure my life out. I had just gotten divorced. And he said that dating apps, the problem with the dating apps is you always think there's something better. So you can actually put forth a ton of effort, weeks of talking to somebody, and then you're bored at home because, and I've told you this, the reason they stopped talking to you is because you probably gave him 5 minutes to himself. He got bored and is sitting there swiping and going, oh, well, now I can start a conversation with this person. And it's like, they've got ADD. Like, oh, now I can go this way.
Not
Oh,
even-
now I can go this
okay.
way.
I had one dude. I was telling you, I had one dude, and this was the last dude that I really got into a conversation with on the dating apps before I finally gave up. Was we totally bonded over Star Wars. Like that's what got us going. And so we were going back and forth on our like Star Wars and stuff. And then we really like bonded over certain things, and we were getting ready to like plan a date. And then we decided to follow each other on Instagram. He follows me on Instagram and then blocked me on everything. And I messaged him and I was like, so is my Instagram that bad? Like, was it that big of a red flag? And then nothing. And I'm like, it was my Instagram. Something about my Instagram turned him off. And I was like, I don't know. Like what is it?
And
What is-
and
and
social media is fake anyway. You just
You-
post fun stuff.
Well, that's what I'm like.
And you still haven't heard from him at all?
No.
It's so interesting. I will admit that I am guilty of ghosting guys on the app, not when they've set up a date at all, but just in talking to them, and then the conversation kind of dies out,
Mhm.
and then I don't respond, and then they don't respond, but then they message me like a few days later trying to respond. I'm a huge believer of no one owes you anything, so I know that, but it is weird when you go to the lengths of Instagram friends and inviting you to something. So like when you set something up, it's like, and then you like, I'm getting better at breaking things off. If someone sets something up with me or whatever, and even at the last minute, if I'm like, nah, like I'm just going with my instinct, I am trying to be better at letting them know at least that, like, hey, I don't feel like this is a good match for us, and just kind of leave it at that. But yeah, I'm guilty of ghosting for sure, just because
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't want to deal with it. But it's like a courtesy thing, especially if you've set something up.
Yeah.
Well, and that was my whole thing, was the dude pretty much like begged me to be his date to a wedding. I asked you for the day off, and I was like, I'll let you know by Tuesday. On Tuesday, we were messaging. I was like, I think I might be able to get the day off.
Gone.
And then
Gone. Poof. Never to be heard from again. And like I wasn't fucking like devastated by it. I was only talking to this guy for a week, and no, he didn't owe me anything. But at the same time, I was
It's
like,
like, what
the fuck? Yeah,
I was in here and go,
like the mind fuck. I was like,
what is it?
I think what it is, a part of what it is anyway, is that being behind a phone screen, a computer screen, whatever, like it allows you to be braver than you
Yeah.
normally would be, and just be different than you normally. Like I think I've gone on like a handful of dates from dating apps, and you're going back on conversation, and it's good, it's bouncing, and like then you get there, and I'm a pretty quiet person, I'm pretty reserved, like I don't talk a lot, but if I'm carrying the conversation and I'm bored out on a date with you, like that's a problem, because I don't talk that much, so it's like people, but it's really easy to just not even that you're intentionally pretending to be someone that you're not, but
But
like
it's
this,
easier to be confident behind a screen.
yeah, this dude is
Yeah.
probably like, yeah, I'll take you to a wedding, whatever. And then push came to shove, and he's like, oh shit, this is happening.
Yeah.
And you freak out. And I think that's why I hate the dating apps, and I want to meet someone in the real world because you can tell who they are. Like it's face value, like it's right there in front of you. Like if you click with them and you're going back and forth, like you can't fake that. But I can sit on my phone and pretend like I'm an outgoing, obnoxious, loud, whatever person and
Yeah.
be entirely different. That's easy
Yeah.
to do.
So transitioning to meeting in the wild. Oh my word. I feel like I've had worse experiences meeting in the wild. Like I've had obviously good ones, but some dudes I'll meet in the wild and I'm like, we're talking, totally hitting it off. We'll go on a date, things will be fine. We'll go on another date. And then, okay, specifically, let's talk about this one guy. So this one guy, this is last year. We meet at a bar, we're chit-chatting.
Oh God, is this cross dude?
Yeah, cross.
Oh, by the way, for any male that's listening, yes, we give you all a nickname.
Yeah,
It's a real name.
no, he has a-
Any of their dating people's real names. Everybody has a nickname.
no. So yeah, this is cross neck guy.
Jeez. Oh.
So we go out on a date. It was pretty nice. We just like went and walked around a park, chit-chatted. And then another time, like we just went out to a bar and things were fine. And then another time we went to my home bar, which is actually where we met. And I'm friends with a bunch of dudes. Like, and he knew this. Again, we met at this bar where I'm friends with these dudes. And I was talking with my one friend, a guy friend, about snowboarding. And we were just sitting there shooting the shit. This guy comes up from behind me, taps me on the shoulder, looks livid. This is after less than a week of knowing him. Livid. And he's like, I'm going home. And I was like, okay, like, have a good night. I gave him a hug. Was just like weird. Blows up my phone. I did not picture you as this kind of girl. I can't believe you. How could you do this? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? So I like ignored all of these text messages because I was like crazy pants. And then he calls me and he's like, I just can't believe you. Are you serious? Are you serious right now? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm sorry you feel this way. Like, again, I'm just friends with this guy. I just can't believe you. Blah, blah, blah. We get off the phone. Come to find out, he has like 6 restraining orders against like fucking batshit. So I'm like, I'm also very cautious about meeting dudes in person because they can put on this facade for a couple of dates of like being a cool and like
Yeah.
really nice guy, and then they just go batshit. And I'm like, fuck. I dated one dude for 2 years, thought he was completely normal. Ended up calling the cops, fucking never talking to him again.
It's so crazy. Well, I met a guy out in the hang on, let me take this back. This was years ago. This was like pre-COVID. We originally, maybe it's not out in the wild. I don't know how I came across his Instagram. I can't remember. It was like really random, but then we also randomly ran into each other in public.
Which one was
I think I don't know that I gave him a nickname, so I'm gonna have to tell you his name
tell the
later.
story mostly.
Okay, so we also there's no way he knew I was at this specific bar in Elk Grove. There's no freaking way. I didn't post anything. I didn't tell I'm trying to think you know how some people like stalker I thought it was like a stalker thing at first, and I was like, there's no way he would have known that I was here. But he messaged me on Instagram. He's like, hey, are you at so and so bar? And I was like,
I know who this is.
you know this. Okay. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, I think I see you. So it was kind of like, I want to call it a hybrid. Met him on Instagram, but then we also kind of went
Naturally met, yeah.
met in real life, not meaning to meet up. Met him in person. And I was like, oh, this is he's nice, he's cute, we get along good. And then we started hanging out. I wouldn't say we were dating, but we were talking, I guess. Okay. And then I don't know how things fell through. I don't remember. We just kind of stopped touching base. Well, then a year later, I get a message from a girl accusing me basically of you've been seeing my boyfriend. And I'm like, what? And so she and I go back and do some research because I was like, hang on, hold the phone. I do not date boyfriends. I'm not into that. So give me a second. So we both figured it out. So back when he was seeing me, he was also that's his long from girlfriend. And I don't know how she found out about me, but she reached out to me and it turned into, I don't know why I have so many stories. I don't know why. I think my mission in life is to warn women about
You
men.
have to tell the story about the trailer park dude.
The married guy. Oh God.
So
Oh,
great.
it's a long story. But anyway, but so to Emma's point, meeting guys out in the wild and I feel like I've had just as bad experiences meeting guys out in the wild also. I'm just like,
Yeah.
you just don't know who anyone is. For me, I
I
feel
Zach in the wild.
yeah, well
Oh, sure.
You're
And the guy I'm
anomaly.
seeing, I technically met in the wild.
Huh?
The guy I'm seeing, I met in the wild.
Oh, God.
Technically.
Yeah, you did.
We don't have a conclusion to this story yet. It might go crazy. It might be really
We're gonna have to
good.
do it.
I'll have to do a recap on Emma's
Wait,
relationship
Yeah.
right now.
I'll have to
Oh yeah.
wait. So what happened? So you?
Oh no,
you
so
saved her?
she messaged me, she was super pissed and I understand why and I like gave her evidence of like look, like I didn't know he had a girlfriend. And so I don't remember how the conversation happened, but I ended up like helping her find another girl he was also seeing. Like
Oh,
currently
geez.
she and I, of course, become friends
Naturally.
because she and I have become friends and she actually got out of that relationship with him
Good.
because I was like, look, girl, this is what happened. I have nothing to hide. This. I'll give you a timeline. I'll give you dates. I'll give you this. I don't want anything to do with him. I haven't seen him in a while, actually. But yeah, I guess you were with him. Sorry, I had no idea. And so, I don't know. I haven't heard from her in a few years at this point, but I actually ended up meeting her in person too, and she's really nice. And again, I think my mission in life is to warn these women about these guys that they're seeing. Yeah, because people will lie about being in relationships apparently. So, but anyway, over the years, I've learned to filter them out and look for warning signs and red flags and all that stuff. And I'm being way more cautious than I used to be, as you know, Nicole, with my background. So I'm way more cautious. But yeah, anyway, talking about apps versus real life, it's I don't know, I feel like in the apps sometimes I feel safety in the apps sometimes because it lays out what they want and all that stuff. So sometimes it's a quick no, but also you still never know. Like they could be someone like with a restraining order or like
Right.
you don't know their intentions. You still don't know the person.
Mhm.
So it's hard. Yeah.
So at one point, I've been single for a really long time. And my little ride or die Tammy decided that she was going to take it into her hands that she was going to find me a boyfriend because she could do it better than I could. I'm doing it wrong. She's going to take over and she's going to make it happen. So she actually created a page for me and she put the pictures, she did all the stuff. She did all the swiping. Her and her husband sat on their couch. It was their nightly thing to find me a date. And then Deb knows this one. Deb actually met this one.
Yep.
So this one, she actually found him and set me up with him. And we went on the first date and I was like, he's a little different. I mean, I know like left brain, right brain, and he was a musician. So he was very like artsy fartsy and a little dorky, but super cool. But at the same time, like, I was like, it's fine. So we went out to dinner. Everything was fine. Nothing physical happened. Didn't even like hug goodbye. Done. Met for a second time and met for one beer and everything was fine. Again, went our separate ways. And then Deborah met him on date 3. And date 3, my friend also is able to do a little background research stuff and found out that he was probably not the one for me as we're sitting at the dinner table at Chili's.
I was third
Right
wheeling
across the
it.
street,
I was
yeah.
third wheeling it
That
at
was like-
Chili's.
Deb's all, I want to meet you for dinner. I was like, I'm with, I don't even remember his name. Come and have, come and meet. And she's sitting there and my friend texts me and she's like, you need, she's like, abort. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? So I go to the bathroom and she's like, oh my God, this guy's crazy. You need to get out of there. And needless to say, to find out he had like restraining orders and he was schizophrenic and he was crazy town. So yeah, so apps
Yeah.
for having somebody else
Yeah.
do it. Even she,
Mhm.
with all of her
Yeah.
spidey senses, didn't get all of
Yeah.
that. So they lie. I mean, a lot
Yeah.
of guys lie. I'm sure a lot of
With
women
the
lie.
hold
I'm just
with holding of the truth.
yeah.
A lot can happen.
So yeah, that was a fun one. Deb's all, what are we doing? Oh, we're aborting.
I know, I was so confused. I was like, where are we going? What's happening? And she's like, I'll tell you in a second. And then he left and she's like, oh my God, get this. Yeah, luckily we have women. And unfortunately, not to get on this topic either, and because of that, fortunately and unfortunately, there are the Facebook
Oh.
groups.
Oh.
I can't
With the
relate.
T apps
There's
too.
some- yeah,
There's
I've
T
got the
app.
T app, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm old.
Okay.
What's T?
The T app.
T app. So you know how we spill the tea to each
Yeah.
other? Okay, well, they have created apps for men and for women. They have them. And you can go on and you can type in your area and type in the person's name, and it'll show like all of the, let's say their name is Oscar. You can type in Oscar within 100-mile radius of like this area, and it brings up all the Oscars. And if you find them, you can click on it and you can either share your story about this person or read what other people have said about this person, or if they're even
Wow.
posted, and it'll show green flags or red flags or just tea in general. And
See, you guys are fucked.
yeah.
How do you
I know,
date when
I know.
everybody
It's
because
Well, and that's
everybody's
the dangers
perspective
with
of
it. Right, and then there's the dangers of it if it's like a bitter ex that's posting like
Yeah.
all of these crazy stories, but actually that's just one side of the story.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure my exes could go and fucking tell some insane ass stories,
You
which
guys are so screwed.
It's so crazy.
Social media is killing it.
You know what's so funny? I had someone reach out to me on Snapchat. This guy that I met on an app like pre-COVID, a long time ago. I don't know why we're still friends on Snap. I never talked to him. He reached out to me and he goes, "Hey, can you look and see if I'm on the T app?"
Shut
I'm
up.
not even joking. And I was like,
Wow.
and I don't have the T app. So I was like, I don't know what to tell you, dude. I don't have it. And he's like, oh, okay.
I do. We can look them up later.
Yeah. Okay, well,
But you have the are you
yeah, the Facebook
Yeah.
group. Are we dating the same guy? And everyone knows.
And I'm in
I
that
know.
too.
I'm
I'm
like
there
three
for the
different-
tea. I just
I'm-
like reading it.
I'm there for the tea. Also, I think there's good things in terms of like when I do scroll and just kind of browse. Because honestly, if I'm bored, which is rare these days, but if I'm looking, you'll have like a picture of a dude and like 200 comments, and I'm like, what's this about? And I'll click on it, and some girls are like, no warning, I have a restraining order against him.
wow.
And other girls saying yes, domestic violence. So there's things about like those warnings, but then sometimes there's a picture of a dude with just one comment that says, meh, he was okay on this date. So I feel bad for these guys, some actually who are like good guys and cool guys, and maybe I don't know, the date just didn't work out, but now all of a sudden they have their picture.
The picture.
I feel so bad.
Yeah.
So it's like I think it's good in the useful terms of like, hey, is this guy violent?
Yeah.
And that sucks that as I'm sorry, but like as women, like in a heterosexual relationship
Mhm.
with a man, we have to be careful because we don't, especially if we don't know them. And
Is it gay
so
about that stuff too?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I haven't looked into,
on the T
it.
app, if women are on the T app, maybe on the T
Yeah,
app.
maybe I haven't. Looked
Yeah.
into it.
Jenny,
No.
come on.
No.
You gotta do
You got it.
research.
You gotta catch up.
Wow.
But yeah, so yeah, it's my friends who are either in long-term relationships or are married, they're always fascinated when I talk about my dating.
I'm
It's really-
fascinated.
I know.
You young people, I just feel so bad.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes. So I feel like for me personally, it's a 50-50 toss up between the dating app and meeting in real life, which is why I'm not afraid of the dating app still, because I've had just as bad experiences meeting guys in real life and shit still hitting the fan or not working out
Yeah.
or whatever, or being like, oh God, this is not the
yeah,
person.
we
for
know
me.
about that.
Well,
You
and
guys, yeah.
so I have a funny story. The dude that I'm seeing right now.
Oh boy. What are we gonna call him?
Emo.
Oh yeah.
Emo boy.
Emo.
Do
Okay.
you have more for another doodle while you tell this story?
Yeah.
I'll say.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I'm trying to
Well,
fill
see, and
mine up
that's
with,
why my doodle got fucked up last time, because the hazy.
I'm trying to fill it with hazy so you
Anyways,
guys
Let
can fill
it
yours
settle
with that.
for 5 minutes.
Okay, and let's
Anyway,
tell her
Lord.
story.
Okay.
So
Emo.
this guy, I had seen him a year ago, and I was like, oh, I like this. Like he's
You did?
sexy. Yeah.
At
At the
year.
last.
I don't know why I missed
The
that
last
detail.
event.
Okay,
I'm-
okay. I don't know
Oh,
why.
she was infatuated.
Oh my god.
Okay.
I
You
saw
were
him
like,
and I was
come on.
like,
Okay.
that boy is sexy. I didn't have the confidence I did this year though. And this year
You
I
were
saw him.
as
Like,
intoxicated
wow,
last year.
that might have had a part of it too.
You were a new height.
But
so
this
you were
year-
still a good girl.
This year I hit my coworker on the side of the arm. I gave him a little nudge, and I was like, that one right there, he's mine. His ass is mine. But also, I wanted, like, for me, it was physical. Like, I was strictly like, that dude's sexy. I want to jump his bones kind of deal. And then we start talking, blah, 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 blah. And then we start hanging out, and I'm like, wait, fuck, I like this guy. Damn it.
But it's not, they don't just hang out. He lives in a different state and has come here to her 3 times.
3 weeks in a row, he took his weekends and drove down to me. The next weekend, I drove up to him.
Yeah, made me work both of her freaking shifts.
Yeah, I did. I made Nicole work so I could go see this boy.
A nice friend in Boston.
Ugh.
But he ended up being actually like really sweet, like cooked dinner for me, cooked breakfast for me every single time he came down. Bought me flowers, like insisted on taking. He asked me out on a date, and I said, "Boy, please." I said, "Please," and he was like, "No, seriously, like I want to take you on a date." I was like, "Fuck, if you insist." Like,
So you're
go.
going into it not taking it seriously.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
With all of the coworkers.
Yeah.
It was strictly, this is what she's doing.
It was strictly. I was
And
like,
of course, Mama Bear is like, come on, no. And she's like, I don't care. It's happening.
I don't give a fuck. I was like, I don't care about any of. I literally don't care. I just want to jump his bones so bad.
I tried to stop it.
Yeah.
I did to everyone, like, you wouldn't be in eyes shot, and I was like, does anyone know where Emma is? Do we have eyes on Emma?
Because when Emma likes to drink, Emma likes to wander.
Yeah.
She's a wanderer. So we gotta keep eyes on her all the time. Good Lord. Okay, go ahead.
And well, that's just it. It's like it for me. It was like a very physical thing at first, and then
Are you fine with the path that it's going on though, or are you a little like off put by it? Because that's not what your goal is.
well. So enjoying.
That's why we talked on the first word last
for an
night.
hour yesterday. I was like, so with me, when I start liking someone is when the nerves like set in.
And that when the girl brain turns on.
Yeah, once the girl brain turns on, and it was just like all of a sudden now I'm anxious because again in my past, like I'll talk to a dude for a month and I'll like them and then they'll just fall off the face of the planet. Like nothing.
You know what's funny is, sorry to interrupt you, is sometimes I've seen memes on Instagram where it's like, what's the quickest way to get a dude to not like you? You just start liking them.
Right. Right. And that's been my experience.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck, like I like this guy, but I was like, I don't like what if like for him, like he's just being nice, but still like just wants to like have fun. Like I was like, I don't even want to deal with this. So I was gonna break it off. Naturally, I like
breakup day.
Oh,
I
no.
like I like a guy, I'm breaking that off.
Yes.
And then I was on the phone with him and I told him how I was feeling and I was like, I don't think like this should continue. And he was like, okay, like I understand like your feelings are valid. He was like, I'm just gonna put my points out there. I like you. I like spending time with you. I've been able to envision certain things with you and blah 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 blah. And then we had like this whole conversation. And then needless to say, we did not end things and and he's coming down again.
Okay, well, good. He talked you out of it basically.
Like,
because-
but not.
Right,
It wasn't
yeah.
like a pressured thing. He
Right,
was like,
right.
he was like, I'm not pressuring you into anything. If you want to call it off, like I'm not gonna force you to be in this. But here's my perspective. I do like you. I do want to like meet you in the middle somewhere. Like, so I don't. He basically was like, I don't want this to end. I want to keep seeing you and like hang out. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well-
he wasn't going away easily. He was
Well, do
which is
you
good.
do you feel like your initial perspective was because you were like, because some people they like break things off before they can get hurt first.
Yeah.
Right. And
100%.
that's what I told him was a big thing for me. I've gone through extensive years of therapy, like deep therapy. And I have like the anxious avoidant attachment style. So like I will want to have like these, like I have these big emotions and I want to talk about them, but I'm scared to talk about them at the risk of not liking what the other person has to say. And so I avoid until it's too much and then I cut it off. because the cycles in my head are just building up
But
and I'm getting more anxious.
She said, okay, you told me yesterday you were anxious. What is it? You were scared of, you guys both had different things. What was his? When he told you that he was scared of.
Oh, he said he fine. So, okay, I had this conversation with him when I went up to visit him. I was like, are we like friends having fun? Is this like moving towards a relationship? And it was a very short conversation. And he was basically like, relationships are scary.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And I told him, because he asked me like what my perspective was on it, and I was like, yeah, like I get that. I was like, and I wasn't expecting to like you. I was very forefront with this. I was like, I was not expecting to like you, and now I do, and feelings to me are scary.
Feelings are scary. That was it.
And so when I brought that up to him, I was like, I know you're kind of scared of relationships. He was like, wait, pause. I'm not scared of relationships, but relationships are scary because of jumping into them too quickly. So that was
where I'm like, what does that
How?
mean too quickly? I don't understand what you mean by you guys are already in my old lady brain, you're already in a relationship. You're already getting, you spent a month together. You guys talk all the time. You guys are getting to know each other. Yes, you haven't had the are you sleeping or you did this, which you know you are because neither of you have any time nor
Right.
money or ability to see other people. So in my old lady brain, you're in a relationship. But when you put that R word on it, it scares everybody. And
Yeah.
I'm like, why? Why? That's cool. Like that's
Well, and the way I explained it to her was I had to sit down and like bring her to a whole play-by-play of like a different relationship that I was in for a couple of years. And at the end of that relationship, he pretty much like it ended very toxic in a very toxic way. And he was pretty much told me that I forced him into that relationship. And that was like gut-wrenching to me. I was like, I don't ever want to feel like I've pressured somebody into a relationship. That's never my goal. And so now, like, it is scary. Like, I don't want to rush in because I don't want to feel like I've pressured in someone into something that they didn't want to be. Given I feel like that was because of how it ended so toxically.
and it was
Like, it was
so
like
young. It
and
was so
we were very young.
yes,
We
it
were
was
like
very-
20 years old.
Yeah.
But
Has he told you, the guy you're seeing now, has he told you like what a relationship is to him? Like when he said like, yeah, it is scary. What did he say when you rush and when you get into a have you guys defined to each other what a
That's
relationship
this
is?
weekend.
so I think we're gonna get more into depth of our conversation at a later point, but right now I think we both just settled it on I like you, I like spending time with you, I want to see where this goes. And worst comes to worst, we make memories and that's it. Or something more could come of it.
Yeah. It's so crazy because I think everyone, it's safe to say that everyone is at some level afraid of rejection.
Oh,
At some level, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe even if it's just like a tiny bit, and some people like that's their biggest fear in their life is rejection.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what keeps us from doing certain things or like our
Yeah.
trauma responses,
Right.
blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Yeah. With all this experience that
Yeah.
we've had. Okay, we gotta take another doodle.
Yeah, doodle to that.
We poured another doodle.
It's a little Emma and her story.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's Jenny's turn.
I don't.
With crazy dating stories or just dating in general?
We can do
Well, I guess we
crazy
haven't gotten to the
stories.
crazy stories, but
I don't have any
Is it
crazy
dates?
stories. I don't have.
Going
That's
on a
kinda
date,
what I
nothing
was-
crazy, weird, nothing has ever happened.
I mean, back when I was still trying to date men and
yeah.
convince myself I was straight,
For you.
it was rough. Yeah, it wasn't a fun time. It was, it's really sad, and I feel bad because, like, I think I knew deep down that I wasn't straight, but I was trying to push the issue. And I went on some dates with some actually really great guys. And like ended things with them, obviously, because it got to the point where I was like, yeah, this is gonna get deeper than I want it to. So I feel bad about that. I mean, there's like probably a ton of guys out there. There are a few in particular I know that still talk about dating me and being upset about me breaking up with them, and they don't know why. They don't, because like I'm not posting on my social media that I'm a bit homo or anything.
It's not in your Instagram bio.
No,
right?
it's not in my Instagram bio.
Rainbows everywhere?
No, I don't. I don't think I have any crazy stories. I did go on a date with a guy I met one time at on an app. He was a cop. On our second date, apparently I went to the bathroom. We were at a bar. Went to the bathroom, came out, and got a warning from a girl sitting next to us that he had taken 6 shots while I was in the bathroom.
Oh my God.
And we like
Six?
six
Wow.
shots. And my car was not where we were. We had driven from dinner to this bar,
Oh,
and
no.
I panicked. I was young. I didn't know what to do.
Oh.
Panicked and got in the car with him, and like he was definitely drunk.
Oh
And
my God.
again, he was a cop.
Wow.
And yeah,
Wow.
got me back to my car, and then I didn't hear from him for a few days, and he's like, "Yeah, sorry about that." And I was like, "Yeah, you shouldn't have the job that you have."
Oh my
But
God.
Wow.
Good on those girls for, was it a group of table of girls? Like who
it was just
warned
the
you?
girl sitting next to us at the bar. He
Yeah.
turned and faced the other way, and she's like,
That's why we look out for each other. We don't
Yes.
know. We
I
just
didn't-
don't know.
"I should have, gotten an Uber and not."
Eh.
But okay,
It's okay. You won't feel so dumb when I tell my story about what I shouldn't have done. Like red flags, red flags, red
Which
flags,
one?
red flags. The drunk guy. Me driving the drunk guy home story. I don't know if you remember that one.
You driving?
I'll-
Oh my
Me
God.
driving the drunk
In
guy home.
Out in BFE.
Out in the middle.
Donuts.
Out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, Nala agrees. Yeah, but yeah, yeah. And sometimes we're like, what do I do?
I panicked.
Yeah, oh, yeah, same. Sometimes my response is not fight or flight, but it's freeze.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a lot of
Yeah.
the time. my
You're in the
response.
headlights, and there's Nala barking away in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys want me to get into my
Yeah.
crazy dating
Yeah,
story.
I don't think I
Okay.
really have any.
So, yeah, I'm just.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're good. I'm checking if it's still recording. It's still recording, Josh. Don't worry. I always have to check everyone because this is the Zoom app that I'm using. So yeah, I have a ton of stories, but the one that comes to mind that for me, I was like, I definitely should have been like, abort, don't be here, don't do this, go home. Luckily, I'm still here, so it's fine. But during COVID, I accepted a date. Of course, meeting him on the dating app, because what else was there to do during COVID? If you're single, like I wasn't even working full time, like it was literally like I was so bored.
Yeah.
So then I got on the dating app. We talked over the phone, like all the green flags were there in terms of like he was nice. He had a decent job. We talked over the phone and he seemed nice and he wasn't too like love bombing or anything. He was just very like cool and chill. Okay, so when we were trying to figure out where to like meet in person, this is when shit was still shut down,
Mhm.
like especially in Sacramento. So where he lived up, like up near like Yuba, like up that way. I can't even remember the exact town, but it basically almost took me an hour to get there.
Mm.
There was one bar that was open up there, like some small town bar
Mhm.
that he's like, my bar's still open. Do you want to come up here? And I was like, sure. And then at the time I was living in a house with, but like Deb and the other two, and the other two girls, Jess,
Mhm.
and like you guys don't know Jess. The other two girls, Deb, Jess, and Danny. And I told them and they're like, are you sure you want to do that? And I'm like, it'll be fine. You guys have my location. It's fine.
Yeah.
It'll be okay. It's in public. It'll be fine.
No.
So I drive all the way up there,
Oh.
meet him up there. And this is during the winter. So it's like super cold outside. So just keep that in mind. It's in the winter season.
Okay.
So, we go, we get there, meet him. He's nice. He's just very fun. It's at a bar, right? So we start, I start off with a small beer. And then I noticed like he's drinking his beers pretty fast. Like he's chugging 'em.
Guzzling.
I don't remember what else he had. Maybe he had a shot. I don't know. I can't remember what he had to drink, but he was drinking his beers pretty fast. But it wasn't like a copious amount to where, so I have a feeling he was already drinking before I got there. So just keep that in mind,
Okay.
because a little bit later, because there's a band playing and there's like a little dance floor and there's not really anyone on the dance floor. He like gets up and he wants to start dancing. And then even before that, I remember like the bartender's coming by, like he knows people there. like his friends came to the table and sat with us and talked to us. He knows people there. Bartenders come by, say hi. They know him. And then he wants me to get out on the dance floor with him. And then on the dance floor, I realize how drunk he is because he's dancing with me. And then he stops me and he looks at me and he goes, I love you.
Oh,
And
no.
I start laughing and you could see his eyes. I could see his eyes. I was like, oh boy, he's drunk. And I was like, you don't love me. You don't know me. And he's just like, no, I think I love you. And so I was like, no.
Run.
I was like, let's drink some water. And I'm not drunk at all. Like, I think I had like 2 beers because I still had to work the next morning and I had to drive home still. So I'm like, I'm not even, at that point, I wasn't even catching a buzz. I was just like, I'm good. And so I just kind of, dance with him just to kind of humor him. And then we go back to our table and then, one of the people there, or I don't know if she worked there, I can't remember who she was, but she actually came up to me and she goes, don't let him drive home. Like, make sure that he doesn't get in his car. And she like kind of insinuated that like, I know him, like he does this a lot.
Yeah.
So it's like, great. So
Now I get to babysit.
now I get to babysit a drunk person on the first date. Anyway, so I need to leave. I'm like, I have to go. Like, it's time. Like, it's like almost midnight. Like, I need to go. Then I got work in the morning. And so he was like, oh, yeah. And he like grabs his keys. And I was like, stop. Like, nope. Like, you're not driving. Now, my next move, looking back, when you read a book and if you want to choose a move, you turn to this page. If you want to choose this move, so the page I should have turned to was call him an Uber and he can get home safely. No, I decided to turn to the page of drive him home yourself and see what happens.
Yeah.
I turned to that page. So I offered to drive him home. I said, get in my car. I'll take you home. And I told like the people at the bar there too. I was like, I'm driving him home. And they're like, oh, good. I was like, God, like, who is this guy? And so he gets in my car and he's so drunk that like, oh. And as soon as we walk outside, the fog is so thick. And I can't see 5 feet in front of me. Like, it's so, like, the fog was thick. And so anyway, I'm driving. He tells me to go this way, but he's so drunk. I literally had to smack him and tell him to focus. I was like, I don't know where you live. Like, I need to know where to go. I can't even see where I'm going. So he was kind of focused. He's like, okay. Yep. Okay. Go down here, turn right here. Anyway, he ends up taking me out in the middle of nowhere. We go down think of like the basic classic horror film where the dumb girl gets in a car and goes out in the middle of nowhere. We go up to a barn, like an old ass looking barn. Past the barn, we go to like a house next to it, literally like fog everywhere, like just the perfect murder scene
Place for you to
basically.
get murdered.
Yeah. And he's so drunk, he gets out of his car, he's got his flashlight on his phone, he's pointing it at the trees. Look at the trees. Like, he's so gone. He's not there. I have to pee so bad. So again, I turn to the page of like, yeah, go in the house and get murdered and go pee rather than hold it or maybe pee my pants, So
Go find a tree.
or just go find a tree. I could have anyway. I'm totally fessing up that I could have chose any other route, but I chose the routes that I did. So
Don't do what Deb does.
morning. So I go inside because I was like, I have to pee, and he's like, yeah, come on in. And so we get in there, and the first thing I see are 2 dogs in crates, like grown ass, like German Shepherd dogs, and they're in crates. And he's just like, la da 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 da. And I go pee and I come out and I was like, wait, do your dogs need to go out? Like, are you going to take your dogs out? And he's like, oh yeah. And he takes them out and he's so drunk. He like just walks into another room and the dogs are just kind of like out and about. So I take the dogs out to go pee. And I go and I find their water bowl and I fill their water bowl, let them drink some water, let them out one more time. And then I'm like, I don't know where they go. And I don't know where this dude is. I'm like alone in his house, basically. I don't know where he went. So I put them back in their kennel because I'm like, I don't know where they're supposed to be. So I put them in their kennel. There's 2 of them. They're so nice. I will put the kennel. And then I look and the dude's like already passed out on his bed. I was like, all right, deuces, peace out. He's like, no, I'll walk you out. And I was like, nope, not necessary. But no, he wants to walk me out. So I finally get in my car, lock the doors. He wants to take me and he takes his dogs out again. He basically has me follow him. He's walking out because honestly, I really didn't know where to go either because I didn't know how to. There was like a windy road and then there was like a gate that I had to go through. And so I follow him and he's like stumbling and he takes me to the gate. I finally beeline it out of there. I gave my friends a heart attack because they're like, where are you going? And I was like, listen, I'm taking this guy home. So it was like the most insane. The next day he messaged me and I was like, no. And he's like, well, I don't understand what the problem is. And I'm like, you don't?
Do you even remember
anyway.
me taking you home?
Yeah, do you remember me taking you home? Do you remember what you said? Do you remember anything? It was just, I absolutely should not have taken him home, but it was just looking back, obviously, I'm fine. It was quite entertaining. Sorry, no one has their squeak toy. It was very entertaining. So, yeah. Anyway, there's my drunk guy story.
I forgot to add important context to my story.
Yeah.
The cop with the 6 shots, he's now a regular at the brewery.
Oh,
I will not say, I'm not going to say his name, I'll tell you after. But he walked in the first time, like for the first time he came there, and I was like, oh my God. He has no idea who I am. I've served him beer like a million times. He's not put together, like made the connection.
it is.
That was like 10 years ago. But he
Wow.
was sitting there with his wife and his baby, and I'm like, I wonder if you've been through what I've been
Wife
through.
and baby.
Wife and
Huh.
baby. I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
Okay, I
Okay.
cannot
I'm
wait for that
intrigued.
information. Oh my
I
God.
will say before recording this, I could not think of like a crazy dating story, and this one's not nearly as crazy as like either of your guys's, but yours did trigger a memory. I did go on this date with, and I think it was also in COVID times, but it was when stuff was like opening up again. And he lived in Davis. And so I drove out to Davis and met him at his apartment. And I go up into his apartment, and just immediately I was like, this guy's behavior is odd. Like he was very like, it could have been like he was hella ADHD. I took it as this dude's fucking on something. Like
Yes.
he was just very like high energy, like just ready to go, like couldn't sit still. And I was like, all right. And I was like, do you want to go to the bar? And he was like, yeah, let's go. And the only thing in his apartment also was like a couch, a TV, and then hella empty vapes. I was just like very much, I was like, this is very much so like a 21-year-old dude's home is kind of odd, but not very homey. So then we go to leave, and he was like, oh, do you want a scooter? And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna skateboard. Do you want a scooter? And I was like, okay. And so we start going. This place is like a mile and a half away. Like it was a solid distance. And instead of taking regular roads, he wanted to take the train tracks, which I thought was batshit considering he wanted to skateboard and roller skate. So we ended up, or skateboard and scooter. So we end up carrying the stuff like through this like rubbled train tracks. And then we get to this bar. And you know how body language is very much a thing? Like, if I'm sitting here, like, facing you, I'm into the conversation, blah, blah, blah. He was sitting knees directly towards me at this bar. And I was very much almost pointing in the opposite direction. I was like this, like, I could not.
Your legs were perpendicular.
Like, yeah, I was like, I cannot believe this person that I wanted it. He just did not stop talking about just dumb stuff. And it was like stuff like with his friends, like stories and stuff. And I'm just sitting there like, wow, that's crazy. And I think I had like one beer while we were there. He had a few. And he just still was like so fucking jittery. And I was like, what the fuck? And even the bartender was like looking at me and like looking at him. And I was like, girl, I don't know. But I didn't have my car anymore because it was back in it because I was on a scooter. So I was like, fuck, like I have to get this guy back home. So, and it eventually, like, again, this isn't as crazy of a story. We ended up walking back, and I immediately, like, I handed him the scooter. I did not go back up to his apartment, and I was like, I'm out. But I was like, that dude he just had to have been on something with like the weird stories I can't even remember what they were. I was completely like dissociated, like just trying to finish this beer and like get out of there. I was like, what?
Did you
fuck?
Did you meet him on a dating app?
I think so.
Yeah.
No. I met him at my home bar that I worked at in Elk Grove. So I met him.
Bob's?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I'm pretty sure I met him at Bob's.
There you go.
But he wasn't jittery like that at Bob's, which is why I thought he was on something. when I had went on that date with him
Wow.
later was because he seemed like a normal, like cute guy. No, he wasn't. He was just a jittery
Crackhead.
crackhead.
I
Yeah.
have to give you guys some behind the scenes. So Deb is dealing with her dog right now. She has hid that squeaky toy 3 times and Nala has found it. She's jumped on the counter to get it.
I tried to put it up high just now to get it away from her. She literally put her paws up there to grab it. She's like, "Oh, I want this one." Sorry,
wants that
she's choosing the
toy.
squeakiest toy to chew on. I keep moving it from her.
No,
She's
no,
like,
no.
"I use that one."
She will not have it.
Sorry, Noah. She's like, you guys have been recording long enough.
You're
Give me
fine.
attention. This is about the time when I'm recording with Josh, and this pod, like, it's been an hour already.
Yeah.
She's like, "Okay, are you done?" And then she'll start jumping on me.
Hashtag
No,
over it.
down, no.
So, okay, I have to tell you one quick funny. So, and it's the funny that my story is because Zach and I date night there all the time. So we go to Brick
At Bob's?
House. No,
No,
fuck
Brick
Bob's. I won't go to Bob's with him.
Oh.
So Brick House. And I would do dates there because it was kind of a nice place. And back when I would go there on Fridays, they would turn it into like a dance club. They had a DJ, they had a whole dance club. It was like a whole different vibe. Now it's like a very nice restaurant. And so we go there to eat. But I had told Melissa, the little bartender, because the 2 guys that used to bartend there were, I guess, the owners. They were 2 younger guys. I don't know what nationality they were. They had accents of some sort. Anyway, so I would tell the guy, he said, if anybody comes on a first date here, my rule is if you ask for a pickleback, that means get me the fuck out of here.
Oh shit.
So he said, I do this with all of my first daters. So you're coming in. I told him I'm meeting someone for a first date. So he said, if you need a pickle, you let me know and I'll get you out of here. So I had done a couple first dates there. None of them ended like, oh my God, I need a pickle. But it was just like, no, this isn't. Well, this guy, first off, dating apps. Men out there, don't lie about your fucking height.
Oh
Okay,
my
if you-
gosh.
You're fucking 6'2" and you come in and you're 5'6".
We know. We know.
Out the gate, we know.
And
that's
it's such a dumb thing
dumb
to
thing,
lie
don't
about.
that because not that I even care because I mean I'm 5'5". If you're 5'6", as long if you're 4'2", I don't give a shit. Just
Right.
don't lie about it. So this guy said, which again, I was like, okay, well if you're gonna lie about that, what else are you gonna lie about?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so he shows up. He says he's tall. He's not. Whatever. Then he comes in, and I like teeth. I love smiles. I'm a teeth weirdo. Like I love a pretty smile. That is a big thing to me. I've always been proud of my teeth. I whiten them. I do all the things. I have braces. Like I think smiles are huge. So he comes in. He starts talking, and there was something about not only is he my height, which is not, I mean, whatever. That doesn't matter.
It's
but
not
it is.
inherently
It's-
bad. It's the fact that he lied.
He lied about it.
Right.
So you're my height. So now I'm looking you face to face. And I'm looking at his mouth and I'm like, the fuck is going on in there? Like I couldn't figure out.
Show me your teeth, boy.
He's talking about like how he is a car racer and cars and I'm like, I could give 2 fucks about cars. But I'm listening and I'm just like, okay, but I'm infatuated with his mouth. I couldn't figure out what was going on. And then he went to drink and he opened his mouth. This motherfucker was shark tooth. Hoo ha ha. He had so many rows of teeth. I was like, what? the-
Rose?
Rows?
Like these were pretty straight, but they were like
Extras?
teeth behind it.
Oh.
Extras.
Fuck.
Weirdest shit I've ever seen. Pickleback. That motherfucker got me out the back.
That's what did it.
I was like, what the fuck is wrong with your mouth? You lied about that, and now what is going on in there? That's not right. Something, I gotta go. So yeah, that was a pickleback. That was the only time.
Whoa. Also, I think pickleback is a crazy thing because I'm not gonna lie.
I want to
I
go back.
regularly order Jameson picklebacks.
No.
Like
I drink
regularly.
beer,
That's
and if I
my.
come and ask for pickles, That means give me.
Well, yeah, I can see
That's-
that. But just as that, like
That's
the go-to, like
It was-
I couldn't imagine if I innocently went up not knowing that that was a thing, and I ordered a pickleback, and now
Rushed out the
someone's
back.
smuggling me up the back.
You
What the
you
fuck?
have to set up with him to get it started. You have to
Okay.
tell him I'm on a first date. And
Gotcha.
then he would give you the disclaimer of we have a back door. I can get you out of here. You're
That
safe.
is so
Yeah.
funny.
So yeah, it was pretty cool. He was cool.
That's
That is
funny.
So yeah.
Pickleback.
Pickleback.
There's a trend on, I don't know if it's Instagram or TikTok or whatever, but like angel shot.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that
Oh.
used to be the new, like, I need help or get me out of here or something, or can you help
Some
me?
bars,
Yeah.
in the bathroom, they'll have like the
I was
list of the
just
shots
gonna
that
say.
mean different things, like call the cops, walk me to my car.
Yeah.
Like keep an eye on me.
Device
Yeah.
had that. I think the first time I went to Device downtown,
Do we need
I
that?
went to the bathroom. I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to the bathroom and there was, hey, if someone's creeping on you, order an angel shot and we'll address the situation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think
I mean,
that's a
that,
good idea.
yeah, because
Yeah.
it's awkward. Like some women like are too nice. Sometimes I'm too nice. And
You drove this fucker home in the
Yeah.
middle of Egypt.
And let his dogs out and made sure they got back in their crate. I would have been like, fuck these dogs and fuck this guy. I'm out of here.
different story today, but yes, back then I was an idiot. Okay, we're gonna take
Doodles.
Okay, so I have some submissions from listeners that I want
Okay.
to read to you guys so we could talk on it for a little bit if you want to. So on Instagram, we posted a couple questions.
It's getting warm.
I know because we're drinking too slow. Normally
Yeah.
this would be gone. So on Instagram, there were a few questions out to listeners. And then of course I always text my friends from back home to see if they have anything for me. We got a couple of responses. One of them was like, do you have any dating relationship questions? Or like, what's your craziest dating story? I'm gonna keep everyone anonymous just because I didn't really ask ahead of time and just because it's some of this stuff is like personal. So everyone, thank you for responding. I'm keeping you anonymous. So here's a response from someone in response to like any dating relationship like questions or maybe statements, I guess.
Okay.
Let's see. Dating apps. I've tried them. I feel like it's just another hustle to make money off us. I've tried them all and I see the same people, same matchups. Thoughts? I feel dating is not what it used to be. Back in the day, if you liked someone, you got to know them, hung out and got to know each other. Looks mattered, yes, I agree, but what about what's inside? Me, myself, I'm not a guy who was a 10. I'm a bigger guy, so I get that girls stay away, but I'm a good, honest, hardworking man that works hard, is loyal, but just can't find anyone. Last but not least, seems like there's a lot of us that were hurt by the one and are scared to date. How do we get back out there? So I thought that was a good, like that.
Another perspective. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we need. We need
And,
guys.
and to flip the script,
Mhm.
when I was on the dating apps, it didn't matter what day they're on all of them. You see the same people
Yeah.
on all of them. So
Yeah.
yeah, I get it.
It is the one that is, yeah, that I can relate to, I guess. Maybe I wouldn't say the one, but like last but not least, it seems like there's a lot of us that were hurt by the one and are scared to date. Maybe they weren't like, for me personally, maybe they weren't the one, but like, it's like, yeah, like I've been hurt so many times. Like, I don't know if it is scary and I get defensive super quickly these days and I'm trying not
Yeah.
to. I don't know what.
Well, so the last guy I was in a serious relationship with, I was convinced was the one. And I mean, I was really close with his family. I lived with his family for like
This
a
is
year.
Reno guy?
Huh?
Reno guy?
This is Fisher guy.
Wasn't that Reno? Tahoe.
No, well, Tahoe guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
yes,
Sorry.
we give nicknames.
Nicknames.
Yes.
So, after like 2 years, he was also a fisherman. So 6 months out of the year, he was in Alaska doing fishing and stuff. And I thought that I knew him fairly well. Given we were dating for like 2 years. And then he came back and was just talking about stuff like, first of all, he came back when I picked him up from the airport, hammered, absolutely obliterated, like obnoxious, total douchebag in the airport, total douchebag riding, like on the hour drive back to his house to meet his family. And then that night, I had issues living at his parents' house, like scared for my life issues. So I had moved out and I was like, hey, I'm not going to stay the night here, but I'm going back to my place. If you want to come, cool. If you want to stay and hang out with your family, that's also really fine. I'll see you in the morning. And he went from like having a good time to I'm not going and neither are you. And I was like, what do you mean? Like I'm going. That's just a matter of fact. And he was like, no, you're not. And I was like, no, yeah, I am. And then it turned into this whole like it was like an hour and a half of him going from super angry that I wanted to leave to being super sad that I wanted to leave to love bombing and being like, I'm so in love with you, like blah blah blah, like please stay, like I love you and blah 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 to angry again. And then it turned into I had to get out of there out of fear for not only my life, but of my roommate's life, because it turned into they're stealing you away from me. I can't believe these people. No, I want nothing to do with them. They're stealing you away. And then he was like, no, I'll go back and meet them. I just need to get some things in order. And I was like, that's fucking terrifying. We also lived in the middle of nowhere. Not nowhere, but it was pretty deep out. Internet connection went in and out. Service went in and out. He wasn't letting me get in his car, and then finally he runs back inside, and I was pretty sure he was going to look for his guns because he looked everywhere that he would have stored his guns, but because of my experience with his family, I had hidden them so he wasn't able to find them. I put that shit in reverse and fucking backed out of that car. I called the cops, like, but like it turned into this whole like I went from being in love with you to I'm fearful for my life.
Mhm.
And that fucked me out for a long time.
Mhm.
And so like now trusting someone and that's another reason why getting into a committed relationship
Okay.
is so scary to me, and not running to rush into things is also very scary because I just feel like you don't know who someone is until it's really tested, and that can be a scary thing.
Yeah.
But also relationships are about taking leaps of faith, I feel like,
Yeah.
and that's a big thing, and sometimes you regret it, and sometimes it works out really well. And so I get
Yeah.
being fearful for that.
Yeah. Well, then there's a question to that was like, how do we get back out there? And I think I'm a huge believer in like therapy or at least a life coach or something to that effect, to where someone
Yeah.
can give you practical tools. Yeah, you're talking. Of course, your friends are like a great tool, but sometimes your friends, we can be so protective of each other
Yeah.
that we just kind of like, no, like we're just, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I like the three of you right here and a couple other friends in my close group. I feel like I could talk to them and they can like rationally tell me, well, what about this, and that. But sometimes it is nice to have an unbiased person who is like a professional, if you will,
Yeah.
who has like tactics of like, okay, what about
Well, and
thinking about
doesn't
it this
know
way?
you and what you do.
Yeah.
They can say, okay, I'm listening to the story, but how about, if
Yeah.
you do it this way without us going,
Yeah.
Dad, we know you. You're just being stupid. Stop it.
Right. But at the same time, I'm like, that's not helpful. Like, how,
Yeah.
do, I,
Yeah.
how do I change from being
How do I-
stupid?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's just, anyway, that's just an example of like how to get back out there. Like, sometimes, I mean, obviously talking to people help. If you're not into therapy or getting like some sort of life coach or relationship coach, because honestly, I think sometimes those coaches are more effective than therapists. Sometimes
Yeah.
it just depends on what experience you've
Yeah.
had. But at least talk to your friends, talk it through somehow. So it just, how you
And,
get back
well-
out there, you just gotta talk to somebody, I think.
On this note, I will say a big thing for me on getting back out there was, yeah, I had the outside perspectives, but again, only you know what you've
Mhm.
truly been through, and it's working through those emotions personally. So journaling was a major
yeah.
thing for me because I have all these anxious thoughts and they just spin around and spin around and spin around. But the second I put them out on paper, it's almost like an emotional release. Like I'm able to actually sit there and like line by line go through like what these thoughts and emotions are spinning in my head. I'm able to see them on paper, say them out loud, and go through that and dissect it myself. And it's getting to know myself
Yeah.
personally better so that I know how to address things
And
better.
putting yourself out there as well as put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
sit at home.
Because
Don't
it's
play
also
video
one
games.
experience.
Yeah.
Listen, you're not
No.
going to experience the same thing a gajillion
No.
times.
No.
If you sometimes you have to change your own patterns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And put yourself out there. Go different places.
Well,
Find different interests.
It's almost like, and it's like practicing.
Yeah.
Like if
Mhm.
you do want to meet someone, you do have to like keep doing it.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah.
practicing.
Yeah.
however that looks
Giving
like
up
to
won't
you.
get you anywhere.
Yeah.
You're gonna try and you're gonna fail and you're gonna try and you're gonna fail, and then sometimes something will stick.
And I think you have to think to the future too, like, so this guy thought it was the one and, maybe it's not, or maybe it is and it's in the wrong time,
Yep.
whatever. But you kind of like, for me, I have to think to the future and like what it's going to feel like to be with who is actually the one and ends up being the one. Like you're going to look back and think of through all of the like stupid shit and the dates and the heartbreak that you dealt with to get to that point. At that point in the future, you're going to think that was totally worth it.
Yeah.
And for me, that's what's motivating to like be willing to put myself out there and go through discomfort and potential heartbreak over and over and over again, because ultimately you're going to get to this point where you're going to look back and go, yeah, all that was worth it and it led me here.
Because it taught you
'Cause it
all
taught-
the
yeah.
single thing, every
Like,
single thing.
There's lessons
that
and
you
all
do
of the
are
experience.
lessons that you turns keep learning
Yep.
as to not
It's
do
not-
what-
yeah.
Well, it's not- Yeah, they're lessons, and they're lessons on not only like what to look out for in other people, but also things that you can be doing
Mhm.
differently.
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
and it's-
yeah.
and you get to choose someone, right? Like no one, like it's
No
who
one's
you
forcing
want.
you to be with
Right, no one's forcing you. Like it's who do you want to choose? Like what are you looking for? What values align with what your values
Mhm.
are,
Yes.
and what you can.
And-
all that stuff.
I'm a firm believer of put that shit in the universe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Every day I was like, God, please
Mhm.
just let me find, although touch and go with the normal thing, but I'm like, let me find a normal guy that's taller and
Touch and go with the
skinny
normal
and
thing.
has a good job and is a man who I'm not the man, that he's the man.
Mhm.
and he'll
Yeah.
take care of me. Not that I need to be taken care of, but I wanted to find somebody that could just fit this stupid little mold that I had. And I prayed every day. 10 years. Took me a very long time. But
Yeah,
he showed up at the brewery.
there you go.
Yeah.
You lucky bitch.
Mhm.
You just showed up that easy, right?
It's so weird.
I would
Yeah.
love to just be sitting at home. Just at home, and you just knock on my door. But that would be kind of creepy.
Would you date an Amazon driver? Because I think that's like
Knocking on the door would be some super.
I'd have to throw a rock at my window on the third floor. Okay, I have a few like quick stories.
Okay.
I know, of course, I knew we would go like an hour and a half. Okay.
It's fine.
So here's someone who submitted like a story. I had been talking to a guy for about a couple months. He invited me to spend a week in Atlanta where we were also going to the Peach Bowl. After the week trip of fun dates, I met a bunch of his friends, etc. As he was walking me to my gate at the airport, he dumped me
Oh.
because he had been seeing another person at the same time and told me he liked her more. This was also at like 7 a.m. after making it through the hour-long Atlanta airport security line to top it off. Wow.
What?
A week long. Like,
Wow.
I know. Like after a week of seeing someone, I think that's what she said. Yeah.
Yeah.
After the week of fun dates and meeting his friends. And that's what sucks. Like you met his friends and he's like, oh, just kidding. I like this other girl that I've also been seing. Bitch, what?
Where do you have the time? Do you have a job? What?
Wow.
So there's one story there, and then I have another one. Oh, sorry, I'm not organized. Okay. Another one is I went on one date with this guy when I was in college. First, he told me his mom's car broke down, so she had to use his car, so I had to pick him up. Then when we get to Starbucks, I ordered first and ordered a tall iced coffee and paused when I was done ordering and realized he wasn't going to pay for my drink. I paid for my drink and then he ordered his drink. So after some awkward talking for a while, I drive him home. Later, he texts me and doesn't understand why I don't want to go out with him again.
Because you're a fucking loser.
Because you don't have a car and you can't afford 2 coffees. Like,
And you don't.
Wow. See, that was the thing that I told you about, Deb.
Yeah.
The little phrase I told you.
Yeah. So it's just, I mean, it's just, and Jenny, you tell me, I don't know, but what, you would do, but like in a heterosexual relationship, I think for me personally, what I'm looking for is a guy who is like, you're gonna like, it's not about the money. I
Mhm.
understand that. It's not about like, you need to buy me things.
Mhm.
Bitch, no, I can buy myself things. I'm independent. I live by myself. But it's the act of like, I got you. Like
mhm.
here, especially when you're just getting to know someone. Obviously, clearly this girl was like picking up, you know, a loser, like his car or whatever, like,
Mhm.
and then she buys him drink, like clearly he like wants money from her, like
Mhm.
he needs a mom,
Mhm.
right? So, but at the beginning stages, I'm like, if you're not like trying, you need to try so hard. Like if I'm gonna like I will buy my friends things.
Yeah.
So if you're not gonna, and my friends will do the same for me. If you're
Yes.
not gonna treat me better than my friends treat me, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
you're out.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna, I don't know.
Yeah. It's different in lesbian like relationships just because you don't there's not like that, you know,
Yeah.
those
Dynamic,
roles.
yeah.
Yeah. But there's still the expectation like, hey, I got this time, you got next time. Like there's like a little bit of
Yeah.
you know more equality to it, I would
Right.
say. But yeah, if I went on several dates with someone and they like made me pay every time, I'd probably be like, yeah, no. Like it's all about the
Mhm.
and it's not about the money.
It's not about the money.
It's
No.
just about the like the intention behind it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But as in a man-woman relationship,
Uh-huh.
and this is something that my grandpa taught me and I've learned in growing up, is like a man needs to court a woman. A man needs to be there for a woman. A man needs to put forth the effort for a woman. A man needs to, that's their job. And I mean, and I was a single mom. I raised Jacob pretty much on my own, and I taught him that. And it kicked his ass when he started dating because he was like, Mom, they're so expensive. And I said, yes, but that is your job as the man to court the woman. And
Women are an investment.
they are an investment. And this was something that I told Deb that I heard, that the money that you save is not worth the honor that you compromise. So the money that a man can save by saying, "Oh, you buy, we'll split half," it's not worth the honor of being a man and being the provider. And again, this is my generation.
Mm.
The man is they need to put forth the effort to be the man in the relationship. And that was something that that's why I put it in the universe. I want a man to be a fucking man. I've been in so many relationships where I was the sugar mama. Fuck that shit.
Mm.
I make a lot of money. Yes, I know that. I provided for 2 kids. I raised them on my own. But I want somebody, not that I need you to take care of me.
Right.
I want you to.
Mhm.
I want you to put forth that effort.
And this brings me to the meme that you sent earlier, and you were like that men find successful women less attractive.
Wait, what?
And I think
Well, I'll tell you my
Say
poll
that again.
results, but yeah, the article, and it wasn't an article, it was just
she
like
sent it to you and I.
I didn't read it. Tell
You
me.
suck.
God dang it.
You sent me so much stuff.
Queen. Here, I'll
I posted that. I actually posted this on my Instagram story saying, "Do you agree?"
Okay.
Just while she's trying to find it, I'll just share the results. About 30 people answered. So just to give you context, and I had to keep taking screenshots because my stories will like disappear when I'm not expecting it. But it says, "Do you agree that studies have shown that men find a woman less attractive the smarter and more successful she is?" There were 89% of people that said no, we don't agree with this, and 11% said yes. So the people who responded to me said no, we don't agree with that. We don't find them less attractive. And a couple of votes said that they think that's true. Anyway, go ahead.
So here's my take on this, is kind of to what you're saying, is I feel like this is my personal opinion, is men are meant to be the providers. I believe that that's how they're hardwired, but I also believe that with this day and age, we've kind of made it easy for a man to not need to be the providers. And I don't think that they even realize that they don't like it when a woman is more successful for them. I think a lot of it is taken as like an ego thing.
Mhm.
But I don't think that that's what it is. I think it's they have a natural need to be the providers. But women have become so hyper independent because we've made it easier for men to be coddled.
Yes, that's
And-
forced.
And
Yeah,
so I feel
that's
like
exactly it.
let
Yeah.
me see. So I don't think it has necessarily to do with how smart the women are. But I think a successful woman can be intimidating to a man for that reason.
And I also think that the man is supposed to be the hunter, the provider, and the
Mhm.
woman is supposed to be the nurturer and the love. And I think that women have taken that nurturing thing too fucking far. We've over nurtured everybody. And I did that.
We've
with
over
my
nurtured
ex-husband.
and taken over
Yeah.
the
The role of
the provider.
because we are over nurturing. We
Mhm.
I don't want you to, I don't wanna hurt your feeling. I did that with my ex-husband. I
Yeah.
was a fucking idiot. Because I didn't want him to be angry or stressed or mad, so let me, and then yeah, that was stupid.
I'm just appalled at, the more I'm trying to narrow down like what kind of man I want to date, I'm just more and more appalled. And I'm gonna keep trying. I'm not giving up. I'm not saying all men are like this, because not all men are like this. I just haven't I've run across a couple of them in my dating world, but it just didn't work out for whatever reason. But I have dated a few good guys like this, like just for men to realize, like, yes, that's an independent woman. Yes, she's gonna do her own thing, but guess what? I'm gonna step up and I'm still gonna be the man. And I'm not gonna let her be
Yes.
the man. Because some men are like, oh cool, you're gonna be the man. Oh cool, you're gonna pay for my things. Great. Oh cool, you're gonna do this for me. Cool. Like they just sit back and then they're the princesses.
Mhm.
And they want a
And-
sugar mama.
But they
and
let
want
it
someone
but they
to
let
pay
it happen. Yeah. And
Yes.
they want
Yes.
things to be paid
Because
for.
they
want to be
accept
taken
it.
care of.
It
Yeah,
is
see?
easy.
Yeah.
And then, but I feel like that's such a short term thing. Like it's fun now, cool. But what about 2 years down the road? Now you're gonna feel useless because you have proven yourself to be. And now your ego's hurt, and now
The ego.
well, blah blah blah. The ego I think comes into play.
I have a
for
question
sure.
for you guys. Being
The
the
lesbian.
lesbian, asking the straight people.
You want
So
to-
like, what if like you got with a guy and you were more successful, you made more money and whatever, but his attitude towards it was like he's still a hard worker, but he's just never going to be quite as successful. And he's like, hell yeah, babe, get it. Like, I fucking love that. And like encouraging, and he's doing what he can,
Mhm.
but he never surpasses. And so there's still the dynamic that you are more financially, right, more successful.
Mhm.
What's your perspective on that?
So for me, it's not about the money
Yep.
necessarily. It's about like at the end of the day, basically the man saying, babe, I've got you emotionally.
Okay.
I've got you mentally. I will provide where I can.
Be your protector.
Yeah,
I will be
I will
your
protect you.
dapper. I will do my best. Yes, money wise. Zach's the only one I've ever dated that I've made less money than.
Uh-huh.
And I've always made more money, but I've had some men in my life that are like, they can kind of get you, but then they see the money and then they're like, oh, so I don't have to do anything. I can just let you pay for everything.
Mhm.
Whereas you need to find a man, not that they need to make more money than you, but that they can be
Yeah.
okay with the fact that it isn't about the money and they can still be there.
And that's
Be
what,
the man.
yeah, I don't think the numbers have as much to do with it as it's easy to think that it does.
Yeah.
It's more about like what you provide for the home, the foundational, the structure, the like, I got you, babe. Like,
Well, even just when you have kids, they go home, they bathe them, they clean, they do all the stuff. They're a part of the family.
yeah,
So even whatever you have in your life, they put forth the effort instead of just sitting there and going, pay for me, cook for me, provide for me, do for me. I'm the, as you guys said, princess. So I don't have to do all the things.
right.
Mhm.
You
But
need
I
a man
also-
to be a
there's-
man.
The men, there is like the issue with like the men, say you make the same amount of money, right? But you now have a family unit,
Mhm.
you're like, oh, I'm the man. I'm gonna come home. This is all the woman's job, the cooking, the cleaning, the taking care of kids. No,
No.
we make 50-50. I'm working just as many hours as you are. The home care is a whole other full-time job. So if you're splitting the financial responsibility, you should also be splitting the in-home
The
responsibility
income
as well.
responsibility doesn't matter financially anything.
Mhm.
And that was something that my ex-husband didn't get. It was like, you need to change the diapers. You need to create a bond with your children.
Mhm.
You need to bathe them. You need to create a bond with your children. You need to cook for them. That was something that some people think like in-home, cook, clean kids, I provide and do the yard work. No. It all has to be intermixed so that the relationships within everybody can coexist.
Mhm.
So yeah, you have to take 50-50 on everything.
Yeah.
And finances are what they are because us women now, we don't want to put up with shit. We want to do the best that we can and not have to depend on anybody. But at the same time, when it comes to the coexisting stuff, that all has to intertwine.
Yeah.
And if a man can make a woman feel emotionally and physically safe,
Yes.
Mhm.
that is huge.
Yep.
And I'm not here to try to describe what that looks like, because as a man, figure that out.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Women, we figure shit out.
Yep.
That's the thing that kills me, is that these men won't figure it out. They get so butthurt that, you know, in my experience, that like if I let them down or break up with them, they are very upset. And I'm like, well, clearly I'm just here to stroke your ego if that's what you're worried about.
Or
And
they
so
send
they
you
don't really.
10,000 bundles of flowers. And they're a total bitch.
The point is they don't want to do the work that us women do to try to we try to look internally. We
Yes.
try to like be like,
Mhm.
okay, what can we fix? What can I do to fix? And I'm not saying all men again, but some men won't do that.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, well, what's wrong with her? Well, she's not doing this. And it's like, you don't understand. If you can make a woman feel physically and emotionally safe, like, you're golden.
Yeah.
So figure out how to do that, and you're golden. And I'm not here to say what it is. You need to figure it out.
Men
Figure it out.
just being confident.
Yeah.
Yeah, confidence. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Such a big thing.
All right, we know Jenna is on a time limit, so
Oh,
I have a few more. We'll have a few more quick ones to read. We don't even need to comment. I could just read them, and it could just be a fun thing to read. Just a few more stories. One of them. Oh God, I have to find it now. Another comment from a reader. Oh, cheers to our last doodle before we sign off. Someone said, I went on a date and then he baptized me into a cult. Never spoke to him again. Josh,
Is that the whole story?
that's it. That's how I got. This listener sent that to Josh. Josh screenshotted it and sent it to me, and I immediately was like, no, I need more information.
You guys need to bring that listener on
I
the
need
podcast
to-
and have a whole hour and a half
And
dedicated.
literally-
Find out who she is.
I'm literally texting him as we're recording, and he's like, she hasn't gotten back to me. I'm so sorry, because he was gonna like
Josh, find her.
we need
We need details.
we need this story on a whole nother episode. So anyway, so there's that. And then someone said, I have only dated girls with names starting with K, and none have ended particularly well. Am I cursed with K
Change your
names?
fucking alphabet.
Should I avoid future K names like the plague? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. change
That's
your
a you
alphabet.
problem. Stop doing that.
Yes.
What's your fixation with the K?
Maybe go to like the C or something. Some names.
Slow. Go speed.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so that's yeah, so I had a couple more, but we know Jenny has to take off here in a second.
Can keep doing this.
And I know this has been a lot of fun. We could be here
for
Oh,
hours. Yeah, I'm sure.
a few of us are gonna go to dinner right now.
Yeah.
We'll probably keep talking. But for purposes of Josh not killing me for
And
editing
finding out
this-
who Jen A is, policeman.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
we're gonna
my
Jenny's
God.
gonna spill the tea right now.
Mhm.
But thank you so much for listening, Nicole, Jenna, and Emma. Thank you for being on tonight. This was so fun. You guys can follow us at Connectable Pod on Twitter and all other social media sites. Actually, Connectable Podcasts like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I think I said all of that right. Okay. Yes, you're welcome, Josh. I don't think I screwed that up. Okay.
Great job, Josh.
Okay. Hopefully this recorded and everything as well. Signing off. Okay. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for watching the show. If you enjoyed that episode, make sure you like it, share it, and hit the subscribe button to get a new episode every week. We'll see you next time on the Connectable Podcast.